Video hook, first 15 seconds. Have you ever wondered how an entire civilization could not just survive, but truly thrive, in the heart of the world's most unforgiving desert? For 40 years, this wasn't a fantasy. It was a historical reality for nearly 1 million people. This video is for historical and educational purposes only. We explore past human ingenuity, not provide survival instruction. Narration begins. Imagine the sheer, empty expanse of the Sahara. 1 billion tons of sand, a relentless sun, a place where water is more precious than gold. Now imagine over 1 million people calling that place home, not for a week or a year, but for generations. It sounds like a legend, doesn't it? But history is often stranger than fiction. An old-timer once told me, the desert doesn't give life, it reveals ingenuity. And that's precisely the story we're uncovering today. This isn't about a single person's grit. It's about the collective, advanced knowledge of a culture that mastered a wasteland. Our story centers on a historical phenomenon, largely lost to common memory, that occurred in the Western Sahara and the Sahel region. We're looking at a period where environmental shifts and remarkable social structures allowed populations to reach astounding densities in what we now consider absolute wilderness. This is a historical overview of cultural practice and adaptation. So, how was it possible? The first secret wasn't a secret at all, it was geography, but not as we see it today. We must erase the modern map from our minds. Around 1,000 years ago, the Sahara was different. Not green, no, but far less hostile. Ancient river systems, now buried under dunes, still tapped into vast underground reservoirs. The key was the knowledge of where these lifeblood sources surfaced. Historical accounts describe people using intricate knowledge of star patterns, wind-sculpted rock formations, and even the migratory paths of specific birds to locate water. They weren't just wandering, they were navigating a hidden hydrological map. Once at a water source, the real engineering began. You've heard of an oasis, a simple spring, but this was a masterclass in hydro management. They didn't just drink from ponds, they built complex underground channels known as canals or foggaras. These were tunnels, sometimes miles long, dug with breathtaking precision to tap groundwater from the base of mountains and transport it, without a single drop lost to evaporation, directly to their settlements and fields. Think of it as a subterranean aqueduct system, built with nothing but bone, wood, and stone tools. They didn't have modern engineering software. They had generations of observational wisdom passed down through poetry and song. There's a humor in it, really. While some cultures were building cathedrals to the sky, these desert dwellers were building cathedrals to the earth, invisible to the eye but sustaining all life above. And what did they do with this water? They farmed, profusely, in the middle of the desert. Archaeological evidence points to sophisticated agricultural practices. They cultivated drought-resistant millet and sorghum, but also legumes, dates, and even cotton. They employed planting techniques that maximized shade and minimized water loss. They used natural mineral deposits to condition the soil. This wasn't subsistence living. This was sustainable, large-scale agriculture that could feed a metropolis. The social structure was the glue that held it all together. 1 million people can't survive on chaos. These were highly organized, often matriarchal or clan-based societies where roles were clearly defined. Some were master well diggers. Their skills so valued they were a separate caste. Others were legendary salt miners, extracting white gold from ancient seabeds and trading it across the continent. There were herders who moved livestock in complex patterns to avoid overgrazing, and guardians who protected the precious water sources. Disputes over water, the only thing worth fighting over, were settled by councils of elders using customary law older than any written code. It was a society built on mutual dependency, where the survival of one literally meant the survival of all. You didn't just work for your family, you worked for the aquifer, for the community, for the next generation. Which of these historical adaptations, the hidden water maps, the underground canals, or the social contracts, surprises you most so far? Let me know in the comments. But a city of 1 million in the desert needs more than food and water. It needs shelter, and here, architecture became a form of climate control. They built with what they had, thick adobe bricks. These mud brick homes weren't primitive huts. They were designed with thermal mass. Their thick walls absorbed the fierce heat of the day, keeping interiors cool, and slowly released it during the cold desert nights, warming the rooms. Narrow, winding streets between buildings created cooling wind tunnels. It was passive solar heating and cooling, centuries before the term was invented. Their entire town was, in effect, a low-tech thermostat. Trade was their lifeline to the wider world. They sat at the nexus of trans-Saharan trade routes. Camel caravans, hundreds strong, would arrive bearing goods from North Africa and Europe, glassware, textiles, manuscripts. They would trade for salt, gold, and that precious cotton. This brought not just wealth, but information, technology, and new ideas. Their isolation was a myth. They were a cosmopolitan hub, a desert Silk Road stop. Scholars followed the wealth, leading to legendary centers of learning in cities like Timbuktu, where thousands of manuscripts on law, science, and medicine were penned. So you had a herder who could navigate by the stars, a farmer who understood soil hydrology, and a scholar debating Aristotle, all within the same vast, dusty metropolis. It's a history that defies all our simplistic stereotypes about desert life. Their knowledge extended to medicine as well. In an environment full of scorpions, snakes, and intense sun, a robust pharmacopoeia was essential. They developed profound expertise in using local plants for healing. Aloe vera for burns and wounds, acacia for digestive issues, nitraria for scurvy. This wasn't guesswork. It was a refined empirical science developed over centuries. They even practiced early forms of surgery and bone setting. Their survival was as much about intellectual resourcefulness as physical endurance. But perhaps the most fascinating secret was their psychological resilience. How did they cope with the monotony, the hardship, the ever-present threat of drought? They cultivated a rich cultural and spiritual life. Storytelling under the stars was a nightly ritual, preserving history and morals. Music with distinctive instruments like the tinde drum and the imzad violin provided rhythm and release. Their spiritual beliefs were deeply tied to the land, seeing sacredness in specific mountains, wells, and trees. This connection provided a profound sense of place and purpose. They didn't see themselves as trapped in a desert. They saw themselves as children of it, bound to it in a sacred covenant. That mindset might be the most powerful survival tool of all.